Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and a very warm welcome to the 35th and final Red and Blue review of the 23-24 season. My name is Nick Philpott. I'm going to be your host this evening. And very shortly, you are going to see that I'm going to be joined by most of the rabble that regularly visit the Red and Blue review. There's going to be some more coming on during the course of the show. So you'll see people dipping in and out. And we'll start off with our newest member, Paul Gear. How you doing, Paul?
All good, thank you, Nick. Hello to everyone watching tonight. Good end of season to celebrate.
You think you've got stuff to talk about, do you reckon? Yeah, I reckon you've
got might cobble together a bit.
Yeah. Ian Noble, wingman.
Hi, Nick. Hello, Nick. Hello, everyone. Yeah, I'm back in the country for this special edition of the Red and Blue Review. Looking forward to hearing your views all about the game on Sunday that I missed.
Yeah, if you weren't so plastic, you'd know yourself. But there you go. Jill Holyoke, wingman, you up, bud? Mr. Croaky?
Yeah, mate, I'm all right, thank you. Evening all.
Good to have you, man. Tim Richards, how you doing?
Yeah, not too shabby, thanks, Nick. Hello, everyone.
I can't say you don't look that way, but never mind. And Fergus Tidd, how are you, bud?
3 points again, ole, ole.
No, what you don't know is I've been getting up at 3:30 every morning this week, and I am tomorrow morning, and I'm standing in the bathroom having a shave, and it's an earworm in my head. I've had it all week. It's driving me mad. And ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure for the 10th time this season to welcome back Sir James Cannon. Good evening, Jimbo. How are you, mate?
Very well. Good evening, everybody.
And
glad to be on after that run of games.
I know, it's outstanding. We'll get onto that during the course of the show. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm also delighted to tell you that out of the whole team, Jim was the first one to commit to the Red and Blue review next season. He's quite happy to join us regularly throughout the course of the 24-25 season. So we are proud and privileged to have you, mate. So thank you very much for doing what you do. What should we do to start with? Nigel, could we do the DSA to start with? Because I'd like to touch on that if you don't mind. Ladies and gentlemen, you'll know that the Red and Blue Review are very strong supporters of the Crystal Palace Disabled Supporters Association, and their annual general meeting and social evening is on Friday the 28th of June 2024, 7:30 in Speronis at Selhurst Park. There'll be a guest speaker, a raffle, quiz, refreshments. Please contact them at info@cpfcdsa.org with numbers and children's ages. Please get along if you can. I am certainly hoping to get along there as well. Lindsay from the DSA was hoping to come along on the show this evening, but sadly she's had to work. But she has just sent me a message, and it's a message to read out to you guys. Could you please add that the Disabled Supporters Association would like to thank everybody at the Red and Blue Review for your continued support this season. This season, we have successfully supported many of our members. We have donated some very worthy charities alongside sponsoring one of our members who travelled to the USA for educational trip for her degree. We look forward to seeing you and working with you all again next season. That's from our Linds. Okay, so Lindsay and Bruce, you do great work for the DSA, and we fully support you here on the Red and Blue Review. And you're going to be popping up next season. I know you will. Ian, sadly you can't make it this year, can you?
No, I can't. Unfortunately, I am away for that date, 28th of June. But I can recommend it. So if you can get along and you're free on that day, do support the evening. It's not just for people with disabilities. Obviously, that's what their main raison d'etre is, to support Palace fans with disabilities. But if you're an able-bodied person, you're welcome to go along. And Jim, I think you were there last year as well, along with Julian Speroni. Maybe I'm missing someone else, but I know you two guys were there last year as well. So it's a really good evening. Get along there if you can.
Are you coming this year, Jim?
No, I'm on holiday.
Right, okay.
We're not on holiday together, by the way. You know.
Well, boys, I'm thinking about. I'm going to try and get along there myself. So, if any of you want to come and join me on Friday the 28th of June, feel free. Let me know, and I'll get in touch with Lindsay. Gentlemen, there is a banging noise in the background. Is somebody? Can you all hear it? It's like somebody's got a chain or got something in their hands. Whatever it is, can we try and knock it off or mute your mics if you'd be so kind? So what we're going to do this evening, guys, we're going to be talking about the international call-ups. We're going to be talking about your fantasy football, Super 60s, the under 21s. Obviously, the Loan Watch, some massively important key dates coming up through the summer. We're going to be doing all that. But I'd better start, I suppose, with a little bit of humble pie. Okay, you'll remember on my last show, was it last week when we did it? We were talking about Dougie Freedman, and I was giving him a little bit of a hard time. So I'm going to try and rewind from that a little bit. I've got a little bit of flack on social media, on Twitter, about my thoughts. Hang on a minute. Jill, go on.
So you basically going to wind your neck in, yeah?
I'm going to ignore him completely. Okay. So although nothing has been formally announced, okay, there are heavy talk on social media today that Dougie Freedman indeed did go up north for his interview with Newcastle United, indeed was actually offered a position with Newcastle United, and by the look of it, is going to reject it to stay with Crystal Palace. Now, if that is the case, yeah, go for it, Ian.
Well, I reckon the Duke has listened to this podcast and he's so worried about incurring your wrath that he's taken a second look at it and thought, do you know what? My future is better off in South London because I do not want to upset Nick Philpott.
Yeah, you're probably right. Jim,
Yeah.
I've got a feeling these boys are taking the piss out of me. I don't know. Do you actually know Dougie? Do you know Dougie very well?
Yeah, I talk to Dougie a lot, yeah.
Well, get him on the bloody show then. Get him to make the formal announcement on the Red and Blue Review. And we'll do a 36 and final show and he can tell us live on the air.
Yeah, but he's heard what you say about him, so there's no chance he's coming on here.
Exactly.
But seriously, for stability, for continuity going through the summer, I think it's massively important to the club that we keep it. Because, as I say, my thought process is on. But the reason I got angry about it last week is because I would guess that all the groundwork has already been done to the point where we're about to sign this player that none of us know anything about from Real Betis, and the groundwork will already been done, and it would just be a shame if it was all scuppered. And by the look of it, it's good news that he's going to stay with the club. Jill.
And you'd be absolutely furious if he went to a bigger club with more money and loads more wages than what he does now.
We're not doing that again tonight because we did right last week. Paul, being Mr. Sensible, you'd be quite happy that Dougie stays, wouldn't you?
Yeah, no, as I say, I think we discussed last time, he's doing a great job on the surface of things, and it would have been a wrench if he left. And I think one of the biggest things about him deciding to stay is also it will help us convince potentially players to stay. It's very hard to convince a player to stay if he's seeing other members of staff offing at the first attempt. So it might even have sort of bigger connotations, which is great. If he's shown loyalty and showing that he believes in the project, then hopefully the players will too.
Yeah, indeed. Ferg, I'm coming to you right now, mate. You weren't on the show last week. You're very quickly, your thoughts on that subject?
Yeah, no, I was just going through the players that Dougie signed that are now being touted, so many other clubs because Palace are doing quite well. When you add up the market value of some of the players, or most of them that he signed, it comes to almost half a billion pounds worth of talent. So, if there were any investors out there looking at Palace, with the sort of players we've got and the market value now, and a lot of that is down to Dougie Freedman.
Jimbo, then I'll come to you, Tim.
I spoke to him. It was before the match. It must be in the Newcastle game, and I told him a list of players that he'd signed, because over the episodes we've had on here, there's always been a mention of Brighton. How come they've got such a good recruitment? Brentford. How come? And the comments were maybe we haven't got the same recruitment. But I told Dougie I was going to mention him in Spironis, which he was quite happy to do. But he mentioned two players that I'd forgotten. But he got Wharton, Franca, Henderson, Munoz, Lerma, Doucouré, Richards, Johnson, Gehi, Anderson, Elise. They total £125 million that he spent. And he reminded me that there was two other players that he got for nothing. Lerma was a free players. Gaeta was a free, or Gaeta. and Glenn Murray was a free.
Yeah.
So the guy, and you're right, there's over £500 million worth of players there at today's current market. So it's very important that I think was it fair to say that you need to keep that continuity, and players will look at him and think, well, if he stays, we're quite happy here. So I think all in all, it's a very important decision for him to stay at this club.
Indeed, mate. And that list is quite staggering. You just read out, Jim. Tim, quickly, your thoughts, mate?
Yeah, look, for anything to be substantial and to last, you need good foundations. And like a good recruitment, a good chairman who cares about the club, a good manager, and good teamwork. If Dougie had gone, that would have been one of those big foundations gone. So, yeah, it's a good thing.
Paul?
On top of all those players, he probably had a big say in getting the new manager as well. So that's signings like that also go into that list as well.
Yeah, I should think the manager would have been pretty pissed off if he had gone there, if I'm honest with you. Joe, you wanted to make a comment, mate?
Yeah, it's been mentioned already about, £500 million worth of players. Although you wouldn't believe that our players were worth that much if you just watch some of the other fan bases. I mean, I saw the most ridiculous thing on TalkSport. I mean, through Facebook. I don't listen to TalkSport. Can't stand Simon Jordan. And someone said, we can nick Elise and Eze for 100 million off Palace and take them to Arsenal. And I'm like,
Danny Murphy.
Danny Murphy.
Danny Murphy.
Exactly said that for 100. I mean, I'm not being. I mean, that's catastrophic. That is, because already, like, City paid 100 million for Grealish, and I'm not. I don't. I don't do the rose-tinted spectacles thing. There's no way that Eze isn't better than Grealish. So, Arsenal pay, and the other thing as well. It comes down to that adage of what we've always said, and it's what they're worth to our club. We used to say it year in, year out about Wilf. What he was worth to the club when he was just buzzing for those 6-7 years. So he was so important to us. And these players now are really important to us for our gradual climb back to where we are. So, if we want to continue to this slow trend towards, the top half of the table, then we need to keep our players. We can't be selling 3, 4, 5 players out of this team. I mean, we'd literally knock ourselves back to 2021.
Right, I'm going to move on in a second, guys. But Ian, just make your point, mate.
Yeah, very, very quickly then. And the difference now, of course, is that it's not just one player. There's several players that are worth a lot of money. At least half a dozen, 8 players that are all worth a lot of money. And, even something like Adam Wharton has been added into that conversation recently and been linked with other clubs. He's only been here a few months, for goodness sake. And obviously he's got the England call up. I'm sure we'll be talking about that a little bit later on. But, it's just brilliant that so many players are creating such a stir. And if they can stay together, the future is very, very exciting indeed.
Jim, I'm going to be coming to you in a minute. I'm going to be asking you a question about the 2 halves of the season, okay? And what a transformation, okay? But we're going to do that in a minute. I'm going to give you a bit of thinking time for a second. But before we do, I just want to go into the chat. I don't know if anybody can see the Facebook chat, but I'm currently sitting on YouTube. Good evening, Tom Clark Samuel. We'll be talking about you later on, mate, no doubt. Mark Callaghan, Damo's out there. RP66, whoever RP66 is. Nathan Burr, Monty's out there. Bruce from the DSA is out there. Good evening, mate. I hope you saw the message at the top of the show. Steve Mason, Monty's out there. Good evening, Mick. Hope you're well, bud. 1964, my arts. Anyway, Jim, because I haven't seen you for a couple of weeks, this transformation is just, how do you try and sum it up for me? Beginning part of the season, second half of the season, if you would.
Well, it's easy, isn't it? It's a more or less a full strength team, and Oliver Glasner, because he's just changed the mindset of the players. Now, them players might have always had that mindset, but I think Roy Hodgson done a fabulous job. But if he went 1-0 up, he'd sit back and defend it, and then we give a goal away in the last minute, 1-0. Oliver Glasner scores 1, he wants 2, scores 2, he wants 3. But I think the biggest thing that I've noticed is obviously the shape. We now play 3-4-3. The 3 forwards have got much of a, Elise and Eze have got much of a free rein in where they go, how deep they come. But it's the one thing that makes it all tick is the closing down. And they all close down together. They all play in the opposition half. So there's no big gaps between the back four, the midfield and the forwards. And we don't let teams out. Newcastle can get out. West Ham can get out. Manchester United can get out. And Villa can get out. And when you all close down together, it works. If one closes down and the guy behind them doesn't work, because that player that he's left will just make an angle and get the ball. But there's just one defining factor, and that is Oliver Glasner and JP Mateta's goal scoring, which, in all fairness, he was improving under Roy Hodgson, so I wouldn't put it all down to Glasner, but I think just the style we play, the work rate that he gives, but he knows he's going to get balls now. He knows that he can run in behind and balls are going to go in there. Whereas before, he'd go in, nothing would come. And after a while, you probably stop doing that run. But yeah, I mean, the transfer, I've never seen a team. I mean, that's the best football I've seen at Palace in 50 years, without a doubt. The whole thing from start to finish, the movement, the passing, they're keeping the ball when they need to keep it, and they're getting the ball in behind when they know there's something on. And but there's some great signings there. And the last 2 guys, Munoz and Wharton, are unbelievable signings, I tell you. I mean, what was he, 7 million or something? The Munoz?
Yeah, it's about 7
I mean,
million.
he's all over the shop, but in a good way.
See, and that's why you're on the show, mate, because that's fantastic. A great summary, because I couldn't have worded it better myself. Guys, I'm conscious that I can see all the others that are in the chat as well. And the other thing I want to point out to you all that are actually watching the show as opposed to listening to the show is you will notice that we are not putting the comments on going across the screen. And there's a reason for that. Is because there's so many of us on there, it's just going to cut out one of the people on the screen. So that's the reason why there's no comments coming across the screen. I can see them all in the chat. I'm reading them out. And Mark Callaghan's just said it's 8.7 million quid is the answer to that question, boy. So fantastic. Nigel, have you got those 2 comparisons to the 2 halves of the season, please, mate? I think you had a graphic. I'm not sure. I believe you had a graphic. And I think, there you go. And that's it. And I think the first thing to point out is on the left-hand graphic, when this was done, Brighton was sitting up in 8th place. Okay. Look at where they are on the second half. That's their form. I presume it's their form. They're literally just above the relegation zone. And for us, of course, we were down in 16th place. We've literally swapped places with them. Look, we've literally, and our form is on up in 6th place. I think, Jill, your thoughts on this and the 2 halves of the season? Sum it up for me.
Well, it's, again, a large chunk of it. I mean, we lost Sam Johnston, we lost Lerma, we lost Gay, we lost Eze, we lost Elise. We were, and Decore. I mean, it was just. I mean, that's the other thing as well. We've got, we've still got some first teamers to come back into. We for the first time in ages, we've got squad depth, but and proper, very, very good squad depth as well. But yeah, there's the swapping bit with Brighton is I think is hilarious, because I think that those 2 graphics, I think it was they were 12 points in front of us, and it's that's hilarious how that's all turned round. But yeah, I mean, it's it helps when the last 7 games, you go 1-1-0, drew 1-1, 1-2-0, 1-3-1, 1-4-0, 1-5-2, 1-5-0. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5. I mean, it's just that's it. And we scored 21 and conceded 4. You know, we're not conceding goals anymore. I mean, you know, keeper must love it at the moment. You know, with the clean sheet bonuses that he's picking up. But yeah, I mean, and we've always said it. You know, it was the same with, you know, the Murray season when he scored 31 goals. The team was buzzing, but you know, success breeds success. But it also, the team bonding thing when they went out, did they go to Malaga or something, or wherever they went for that few days? Obviously, was, you know, it was after that we've gone on that run. I think he got on the way from everybody to just implement. You know, Glasner needed to implement his ways with his people, with no one in the way, and it seems to. I mean, it literally is. It's almost magical. So,
thank you, mate. I suppose you're on mute, Lionsy. Ladies and gentlemen, late addition to the squad is Lord Lyons from whatever part of the country he's going to be moving to. How are you, mate? Are you well?
Yeah, good. Better than jail by the sound of things. Sorry to hear you're not feeling too clever, buddy. Good. Have I crashed in too late for the Glasner out discussion? Or
yeah, we're just coming to that now, mate. We're just coming to that. So, I mean, give us your overview in the early part of the season to the end of the season.
Well, it's a season of two halves, isn't it? I think the stats have made that perfectly clear. Glasner's got more in the third of the season that he was in than Paul Roy did, and largely with the same players as well. But I guess that halfway through the season, you know, we'd have been more than happy just to stay up. But at the end of the season that we have had, playing the football that we have done, and now having four in the training squad for the Euros, I don't think any of us could have expected anything that good. In fact, I'm just waiting for life just to slap me around the face and saying it's all a dream. I don't know about you guys.
And I said the same thing the other day, and something's got to go wrong. Ian, go for it, mate.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about the season of two halves, and you're not wrong, of course, because those two league tables speak volumes. But it was only the second half of that second half of the season, if you know what I mean, that we really pushed on. Yeah, so, you know, Glasner took the boys away during that international break when we had the big break. But when we got back after that, the games immediately after that were Forest away, which we drew. I mean, we should have won it, but we didn't. And then we went to Bournemouth, and that was a disaster that night. And I know that the odds were stacked against us. So, and then we played City. So he only got 1 point in those next three games. It was only after that, the Liverpool game, that we pushed on. And I remember hosting the show after the Bournemouth and Man City games, saying to you guys, you know, what are the chances of us getting dragged into the relegation fight? How confident are we in staying up? And people were going 3 out of 10. Someone said 1 out of 10 confidence or something like that. And we were all nervous looking over our shoulders. And it was only Liverpool, that wonderful win at Liverpool, that really gave everyone the lift they needed to push on. And of course, you know, it's great looking back on the final 7 games with the 6 wins and the draw. But, you know.
Tim first, then in Ferg.
Yeah, I hate to play devil's advocate, and it was an amazing end to the season. And I've been shouting as much as anybody else, but I also remember when we were called, we were going to be team of the 80s. And look what happened after that. So it's kind of, it's brilliant. But yeah, let's kind of see how it goes next year.
How's that half-empty glass of yours, Tim?
Well, you know, Ian's always so happy. You've got to have a counteract to it, you know.
Yeah, but the team of the 80s went downhill because Terry Venables left and took a load of players and all the staff.
Yeah, exactly.
So we never got a chance to build on that. This lot won't lose the manager, well, unless Bayern Munich give us 100 million. But and most of the players will still be here. We might lose 1 or 2, but most of them will be here.
Yeah, well said. Welcome, Teresa. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Sorry I'm late. It's that work thing.
I know, in the way. Jill just made a great point, Teresa, about success breeds success. And some other things have been happening around the club. We'll come back to the actual game itself in a minute. Congratulations to Palace's women's manager. Of course, they're up into the WSL. Laura Kaminsky, and she's been named Manager of the Year 23-24, Women's Manager of the Season by League Managers Association. Having joined Palace from that lot over the other side of South East London last summer, Kaminsky guided Palace to the Championship title, a first ever promotion to the top flight in just her first season in charge. So massive congratulations to Laura and the women's team, of course, and the women's team. Let's do the under-21s while I've got it in my hand. Nice. Crystal Palace under-21s have been crowned Premier League International Cup winners for the first time after a 1-0 win over reigning champions PSV Eindhoven Jong. Okay, the under-21s on Wednesday's final at Sellers Park. Victory secured by Franco Umar's reflected second half effort offered revenge for the likes of Jezrin Raksaki and David Ozo, who were part of the Palace under-21 side that lost to PSV in the final last year. So huge congratulations. And by the way, huge congratulations to that lot, because that looked very impressive on the Palace TV. They had a great turnout for that game. The crowd was good at Sellers Park. The game itself wasn't. I watched it all. The game itself wasn't a class game. However, it was one of those things whereby, it was a damn good watch and celebrations afterwards.
That's all brilliant. The ladies and the 21s. I just wanted to go back to the Glasner point, and it's an interesting stat. When we beat Burnley 3-0, he got us. We were safe from relegation. That first win. Luton went down with 26. That win against Burnley puts them 27. So we were never in. There was no doubt we were ever going to go down.
Yeah, but we didn't know that at the time, did we?
I know, but his first game in charge, when you look back, his first game in charge, that win against Burnley kept us up. There you go. Interesting stat.
Teresa, before we move on to the game, and the boys are going to cover the game off in a second, I'd just like your views, and everybody else has had their say on this, your views on the first half of the season, so basically the last quarter of the season, really. What the transformation, your thoughts?
Just like watching a different team, wasn't it? I mean, we knew that the lads had potential, but who knew that it would take Ollie Glasner to get it out of them? It seemed that they went to Mallorca and then were maybe cloned and were improved and came back, and it was just like watching a different team completely. It's been joyous.
Teresa, unmute yourself and tell me where you think we will end up this season.
4th.
I'm sorry, Teresa. I didn't know that was coming. You could sort out Croucher after the show.
I didn't hear it because my mic was off.
All right, okay. Not to worry.
But
Anyway,
fair, Nick, she was closer than you. You said 17th, didn't you?
Moving on. Okay. You heard it here first, folks. Nick Philpott's prediction is 17th.
I love that guy. I love him so much.
I have no idea these clips are going to be played in. Okay, I don't know anything what that so-called producer Crouch is doing up there. Right, okay. I've got a question for all you. Okay, just a quick yes or no. I don't need to go into details, but honestly, absolutely honest, please. Okay, had you actually heard of somebody called Oliver Glasner before he got appointed to Palace? Did you know anything about him? Anybody?
No.
Ian's the only one to say yes. Jim?
I knew he'd left Frankfurt, but I didn't know nothing about him. I knew the name, but didn't know nothing about him.
Okay, Ian, you're the only one that said yes. Then Lionsy, that is, you're the only one that said yes. Okay, because like me, I'd never heard of the guy. What did you know about him before he came?
Only that with his time at Wolfsburg and then Frankfurt, and obviously the Europa Cup when they knocked. I'd probably more aware of him when they knocked West Ham out in the competition that year. But clearly he was highly rated. But I can't. Well, I mean, we're just very lucky to have him. I mean, I wonder what Cooper's thinking now, having turned us down. But yeah, these things happen for a reason, I guess, don't they? But yeah,
That's a good.
I
That's a
heard
great
you.
shout. That's a real good shout. Anyway, right, that's enough prattling on. We're already halfway through. We may overrun tonight, people. I'm ever so sorry because I want everybody to have their say, and I've got loads of stuff written down. Boys, doing the match. Over to you, Ferg. I believe you're doing the first half.
Yeah.
Over to you.
So there was one change. So Mark Gee came in for the injured Hughes and then suspended Hamada. And he was playing defensive midfield, which was a bit of a strange one. But as it turned out, I think he played really well in that position. Yeah, so as Jim alluded to earlier, you know, playing the Villa, first sort of 7-8 minutes, high pressing, they couldn't get out of their half, we looked really comfortable. I wasn't really sure how this game was going to go because end of season, they'd got into Champions League. Elise and Mateta had just been excluded from the French squad, so I wasn't sure how they would feel. But as it turned out, they went out and made a statement. But yeah, 9th minute, I think Mitchell took a very quick throw and it was kind of half cleared by a defender. And it fell to Gee. He picked it up, short pass to Walton. Walton, one touch to Elise. It was about 10 yards out from the Villa box. One touch swivel from Elise. Second touch through to Mateta. And Mateta finished it in style, bottom right-hand corner. Keeper came out, he had no chance. 1-0 Palace. I think it was checked on VAR. It was pretty close, but it was onside. He didn't do his usual celebration. He didn't run over to the corner flag and kick it or anything. He looked like he was waving at somebody in the executive boxes.
Yeah, that was a bit weird this time. He didn't do it at all, did he?
Well, I think Parish, apparently the club can't afford to replace all these corner flags that he keeps breaking. So they've asked him not to. Yeah, so 1-0 Palace, and I know we're going to talk about the Villa fans, but obviously when the music started playing, boom, 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 they're all joining in, celebrating, party time, and yeah, we controlled most of the game. It was most of the first half. That Villa had a purple patch around the 16th minute when Lewis played that long ball through to Diaby, and it was 1-on-1 with the keeper, and Henderson pulled off that fantastic save, and he was celebrating it, clenched fists, and everyone giving him high fives and stuff. Really good save, and from the resulting corner, Diaby at the back post again had another chance, which Henderson tipped round the post, and then from the resulting corner from that, we left Watkins completely unmarked in the area, and he headed the ball down, and it looked like it was going in the top corner, and Mark Gee managed to get to it and head it wide. And I think that's probably their only chances in that first half. They had that purple patch for about 2 minutes where they had a couple of chances. And then for the rest of the game, we controlled it. There was loads and loads of good interplay between Mateta, Elise, Eze, Mitchell down that left-hand side. It was a joy to watch, really. And then eventually it told, 39th minute, Mateta scored his second goal. Munoz passed the ball into Walton. And it was a very similar pass to the first goal where he's looked up. Elise's in the same sort of space, 10 yards off of that 18-yard box, and he's pushed the ball through to Elise. He's turned, he's gone back out to Walton on the right wing, and he's side-footed that ball right across the face of the goal. Mateta with his right foot kind of scoops it into the top left-hand corner. 2-0 Palace. That was checked again, I think, for VAR, and again it was a tight one, but onside. So yeah, 2 really, really well worked goals. Again, the Villa fans joined in, celebrating, dancing and stuff, and I thought it was hilarious. I actually watched one of their their fan vlogs, and they celebrated the first, second, third. The fourth one, it was a little bit, and then the fifth one, they got a bit bored with it. I think they were a bit embarrassed, but the first couple of goals, they they were definitely joining in. So that was it. It took us to half time, 2-0 up. We were watching the Brighton score. It was 0-0 at the time, and we're all praying that we can score a couple more and it doesn't come down to goal difference. And maybe for one day only, being a Man United fan, just hoping that they can do it, do us a favour. But great first half. Really, really confident play. Walton, Elise, Eze, Mateta, outstanding. Mark Gee had a great first half in defensive midfield.
Yes, mate. Thank you very much. Somebody just mentioned in the chat, and I think it might have been Chloe, about the 6-foot traffic cones in the Villa end. They need to be congratulated. They were outstanding to a man all game. Well, so congratulations, Aston Villa. Ladies and gentlemen, out in Facebook and YouTube land, if you're on YouTube, can you just put your responses to my next question to you before Paul does the second half? I just want to ask you a question, and the answer is either in or out. Nothing else. In or out is your answer. VAR, is it to be scrapped next year? In or out? Over to you. Over to you, Paul.
Yeah, so as we've been saying, as much of the last games of the season, we just came out second half, carried on where we left off. We were all attack, and within about 6-7 minutes, we were 3 up. It was probably the least well-worked goal of the game. Richards played the ball down the left to Mitchell. It bounced off the Villa Diaby. It came off right into Eze's path. He then strode forward and just melted it into the bottom corner, to be honest. There's no other way to describe it. He's beaten the keeper at the near post, but the keeper really didn't have a chance. It was that quick. And as we said earlier, this is classic Oliver Glasner. We're not going to sit back at 2-0. We want another goal. We want to just keep going. And with the confidence they're playing with, they're going to keep going for it. And again, we carried on going. And then the next attack we had, Nathaniel Klein turned into some right wing extraordinaire, beating a player on the right, cutting it in. And Elise should have scored, really. He was a bit annoyed with himself. You could tell he was thumping his thigh, but the way he's playing, you don't expect him to ever miss. And as we say, it was joy. The confidence in the team is amazing to see. As we even saw with the next goal, I mean, the throw from Henderson was brilliant. He took the whole Villa team out with one throw. Eze's away, and again, head up, looking up. He knows Mateta's in the box, plays him through. And again, like all the goals, there's a VAR check. But yeah, and again, clinical. He took it beautifully. Go on, Joe.
I just thank you for bringing me in, because I said last week that Eze is. We should never ever expect Eze to go back. When we have a corner, when we have a free kick, whenever our goalkeeper's got the ball, I want Eze on the halfway line. And again, we jokingly say they must listen, but that's the first time. That's the first time Henderson. Tell me this season that you've seen. You've been to all the games virtually between 3 or 4 of you. When have you seen Henderson do a 50-yard throw like that, bowl it like that? But it's an attacking throw, not a pass to a player, but into his stride. And it just proved my point. Eze, you just give him the ball. He's a street baller, and he will just destroy defences on his own. Thanks for that, anyway.
It's the freedom of the team, Joe, isn't it? As you say, whenever we got a corner, defended a corner under Roy, basically, once we had the ball, everyone went into their set positions. So we didn't have runners. But here, the team, they just want to score goals. And like I say, as soon as Henderson got that ball, Eze was on his bike. He was gone. And he knew he would get the ball. And it came straight through to him. And like I say, I remember Arsenal, David Raya did a throw like that when we were at Arsenal earlier this year. And they were raving about it because he basically set up a goal like that. And it's the classic counter-attack. And when you got confidence players up front, that's what we do. And like I say, Mateta, again, he took it like a man possessed. It was his hat-trick goal. Obviously, some stats times now. So obviously our first Premier League hat-trick at home, which he's managed to get. It was his 16th league goal of the season, which is the highest tally of any Palace striker since we got promoted. It was great. And I guess to say, we didn't see a single corner flag kick, which was a bit strange. A few minutes later, he then put the ball in the net again. And this is why I don't tend to give linesmen too much grief, because I was right in line with it, and he looked miles offside, and he put it on him, so I didn't even bother celebrating. When you look back, it was very touch and go. He could well have had his 4th goal there. He was a lot closer than I thought. So it was that would have been amazing, but it'd been a little bit too greedy, I think. So fair play to him. But yeah, at this point, Villa, yeah, I mean, we'd say they didn't have much to play for. They were just in self defense mode almost, and not even doing that very well, to be honest. But we just kept hammering at them, kept playing, kept creating chances. And again, Eze gets the ball, first thought, move forward, plays a lovely 1-2 little flick with the confident Mateta, and again, smacks it in from the edge of the box. And I saw a very interesting stat, which I'm questioning, to be honest. According to the Premier League website, that was the second hardest goal scored this season at 104 kilometres an hour. Now, having seen Mateta's goal against Man United and certainly Schlupp's at Fulham, I'm not 100% sure about that, but that's what the Premier League says, so we'll let him have that one. So 5-0 up with 70 minutes gone. And yeah, as you say, it's dreamland. I mean, we're playing superb football, we're scoring goals, and it's just no one wants the season to end at this point. It's just carnival time. And again, just kept going. Eze nearly got a hat-trick, good shot, good save from the keeper. Keeper made a few good saves. And then get to the end of the game, and obviously last couple of minutes, bring on Gyro, bring on Tompkins for a nice little send-off for them. But yeah, played the game out, and final whistle goes. Season over, unfortunately, because we'd love it to keep going. But yeah, what a way to finish. As I said earlier, on the train up to Anfield, if someone had said to me that this was how the next 7 games were going to go, you'd have just sort of you'd have fallen off your chair. It's been amazing, and the quality of the play, the quality of the goals, the quality of just everything about the whole team is just unbelievable. It's and as I say, now is the problem. Now, can we keep this together? I mean, we'll come on to this, no doubt, but this team next season could be hot.
Ian,
just a quick one. I think I posted this on the group the other day. When was the last time we had 3 players score more than 10 goals in the top division?
It's the first time.
never happened.
First time.
2002.
That wasn't the Premier League.
Jill?
And Mateta's hat-trick is only the second of ours in the Premier League after Yannick Bolassi's against Sunderland. I think that was up at the Stadium of Lights.
It was.
It's the first time we got 4 straight home wins in the Premier League. It's the joint highest Premier League win at 5-0. As we said last week, if we won, it's our highest ever points tally. And again, our highest ever goals scored. 57 goals in a season is the highest amount we've ever scored in the top flight. So,
ladies and gentlemen, after all these years, finally on the Red and Blue Review, somebody has done a bit of research. Thanks, Paul. Well done, mate. It's never happened before. Okay, so that covers the game. It was a fantastic end of the season. Party atmosphere. I say, must shout out to the Villa fans. They were outstanding. Ian, in a second. There's stats. 54% possession for us. 15 shots, 9 on target. Think about the beginning of the season with that 9 on target, everybody. Think about the early part of the season. 9 on target. We didn't have 9 in a month, did we? Corners, 2. Passes completed 495 and free kicks 8. The corners stat is something I just wanted to touch on. Sreezer, I don't know where you've disappeared to, but you seem to have gone off somewhere. The corners situation, Paul, I mean, being our stato, any idea how many corners we haven't scored from this season?
I gave up counting at about 130, I think, which was about 4 games ago. So, yeah, no, I was kind of hoping we'd get one on the last day just to rub that out. But yeah, we didn't score from a single corner all season.
There you go. Doesn't matter, does it? Because when
We don't.
We don't score anymore.
Right, Mr. Noble, if you'd be so kind. Fantasy football and Super 6, if you'd be so kind.
Yeah, good. So the season's over, so we can have a good look at the fun we've had along the way with various things. So I don't know what we're going to do first, Nigel. What are we up to first? There we are, fantasy football. And congratulations to our winner on there, which is Dean Miles, and his team is Too Easy. He scored 2,542 points. I'm just trying to busily find out where he finished in the world. If you just bear with me, because I'm a bit hopelessly prepared like this. No, I pressed the wrong button. Sorry, I can't tell you that at the moment. But he did very, very well. I managed to finish 10th in that league. I was quite pleased with my finish, and won a few other mini leagues. And then we got Super 6 as well. And I don't know why you've asked me to do this, because I finished top out of you lot on Super 6. Look, predictions. Normally, Paul Gear, you beat me at this, but I don't know what happened this season, mate. So better luck next season.
Yeah, congratulations, Ian. That's a great result.
Where are you? Where are you? T, are you on there?
No, not on there.
Oh, okay.
Do it.
You didn't do it.
There we go. It's all a bit of luck, really, isn't it? It's just pot luck, really. Put down any scores each week, and
pot luck and a bit of fun. Now, we were talking earlier on about success-free success. Now, we must congratulate the 4 players that have received their call-ups for international duty for the training squad. There they are, our boys, Eze, of course, Henderson, Mark Geehee, and young Wharton. I think, Ian, you wanted to make a point about an unlucky 5th player.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I think we talked about this before, that the opportunity for Crystal Palace players to be selected for the England squad. And I think Tariq Mitchell can count himself unlucky not to be in this squad, not least because he's played very well this season, especially the second half of the season, adapted very well to playing wing back instead of playing the flat back 4. And it's a position where England are not exactly comfortable. The only recognised left back in the squad is Shaw from Man United, and he's been injured. So I don't really get why Mitchell's not been included. But nevertheless, we're still very happy with the 4 that have been selected by Gareth Southgate.
Makes us very proud. Teresa first, then Jill.
Yeah, I was just wondering if any of you saw the interview with Gareth Southgate about Elise.
Yeah.
Eligible to play for England, because obviously he was born in London Bridge Hospital or Hammersmith Hospital, one or the other. He was born in the UK.
Yeah,
but he was saying it would take too long to get him registered under RFA.
Yeah, Ian Noble was saying pre-show, Teresa, before you popped on, that it actually needs some sort of a transfer because he's played for the French under-21s. There is that's what he's alluding to. It would take too long for it to come through, and so he wouldn't be done in time. Jill, before I come to you, another first on the Red and Blue Review, ladies and gentlemen. I never thought I'd see Jill Holyoke drinking an Aperol Spritz live on the Red and Blue Review. Hold your glass up again, Jill. The only thing you haven't got is that Aperol Spritz you're drinking there. Yeah, I thought so. Where's your umbrella?
It's been so. Imagine that. Yes, behind a rose. People Lions, Cam Allardyce.
Right, go on, Jill.
Right, well, you just brought another point up, and I'm not going to name drop because most of you know that I know him anyway. But back when Tim Cahill, when I was hanging about with him for a very long time, I went to Australia to celebrate when he actually won his court. Let's go to court because he played for England because he came over here when he was 10 or 11 years old, and he wanted to play for Australia, and he had to take him to court. So it does take, once you start playing the younger football, for international football, it does become really, really complicated. So yeah, I imagine that would, instead of having to, because obviously that was a long time, 20 years ago, but I imagine it would be quite a complicated process. So, but I mean, if they really, really wanted him, then they would rush it through. It's as simple as that, because it is literally only paperwork, and it's only between 2 federations. We're both in Europe as such, but anyway, that's one point. The fact that Mitchell has been overlooked in favour of Luke Shaw is scandalous, and it makes an absolute mockery, a bullshit mockery of what Southgate once said, that he picked players or liked to pick players on form. Now, Tariq Mitchell has to be one of the best left backs in the Premier League. Just in general, he's stats. I mean, he pockets world class players. I mean, I think for the last 3 seasons he's pocketed Salah, and I don't care what people say. It's a rare day that Salah has a good day against Palace because Tariq Mitchell, and everyone raves about Salah. The Premier League will kiss backsides for him. So I'm really, really annoyed that that's not the case. And then, of course, I think that might be the case. Might be is the sycophantic side of it is that if Palace literally did have 5 players picked and United had 3, Chelsea had 3, I don't think it would go down very well. It's as simple as that. And of course, with Southgate's connections over Palace, but I literally cannot understand why Mitchell's there. I'm a little bit, if I'm honest, I'm a little bit shocked that Henderson's got in, but then he's kept, he's a form player, and this is what you need. I mean, if they're not going to say, why they put Eze in? Why has he been chosen? Because he's a form player. Why is everybody talking about Elise? Because he's a form player. Why is everyone talking about Walton? Because he's a form player. But it just makes a mockery of the whole England thing. And if our 4, at least 3 of our players don't go, it'll be scandalous.
Joe, they're not just form players. We're a form team. That's the thing, and they've been selected rightly. Those 4 players that are in the squad. Yep. But as I said earlier, I think Tyrick Mitchell can feel a little bit hard done by the fact that he's not with them in that 33. I do wonder. I'll be interested in people's views on this one. I do wonder. Do we think that maybe Southgate has overlooked him because of that factor that he couldn't possibly include more Palace players than any other side? Because Liverpool have only got 4, City have got 4, and we've got 4. Is there an element of that in his system, do you think?
Yeah, well, the thing is, just quickly, sorry, that I sent you guys photos because I was at the game when he played for England, and he played fantastically. And I literally don't get this. Come along for half a match, and then you just get forgetting about it, even though you are legit in your position, an English player and one of the best English left backs, and you still can't get taken to a tournament. I just think it's absolutely wrong. And now they're saying, we can bring Carl Wilber over from right back and put him at left back. No, it's specialised play. It's specialised. We all know that it's a left back is a specialised position.
I think he might end up going Gel anyway because Shaw looks like he's not going to make it, and if Trippier has been injured today, like everybody's saying, and they've got no recognised left backs, so
Jim,
he might.
I want to ask Jim a question. Jim, I know you won't have very much interest for very long in the Euros. I do appreciate that because it won't take too long. But do you think Mitchell should have gone?
Well, when you look at the lack of fit fullbacks, yeah, possibly. But I do think he's the only player in the last few games, he puts himself in some great positions attacking, but doesn't finish things off. There was a couple of times he went through. It's almost as if he's reluctant, see them goals and have a pop. He's crossing, gets cut out a little bit. But as far as defending, he's as good as anybody. And I don't think Gareth Southgate certainly didn't leave him out because people are going to say you've picked Palace players. I think you underestimate Gareth Southgate. He wouldn't give 2 hoots what people think about what team he picks. Him and all these cohorts will pick the 28 or 30 players that they feel is right. So as far as having an extra Palace player in there, no, I don't think that would worry Gareth if he felt that way. But I do agree. I mean, with the injuries and the lack of personalities that are not going to be there. I mean, sure, he's a good player, but why would you bring him? He's not played since February. Exactly. Why would you sort of it's different if he's had a couple of games towards the end of the season, but that's how we've done that so many times, or you've done that so many times, England, and every time it's backfired on you when you've tried to bring a player in that was not fit, and in the end, it's just gone against you.
I can't believe said we then, didn't you?
Nearly. Wouldn't it be great? Wouldn't it be great?
I had a pop at Scotland, Jim, and you never bit. I can't believe you never bit.
Well, right. But that's because I know that if we get through the qualifying rounds, that'll be our final. We're not like England, expect to win every competition they've ever entered. We go there, and the fans go there for a good time, a jolly up. And if we do really well, great. And if we don't, we'll try again next time.
I heard on the telly earlier on that 200,000 jocks are going to go over to Germany. I can't believe it. Anyway, Ferg, make your point. Then Ian
Yeah, sorry.
Lyons. Hang on.
I was
Ferg
going to say,
first, Ian Lyons second, and then Tim, I want you to cover off Fab, if you'd be so kind.
I was going to say, wouldn't it be great if England won the Euros and we could say, well, Palace won the Euros for you, like West Ham have always claimed to have won the World Cup in '66. Wouldn't it be great if we could say that?
Palace won the Euros. Ian Lyons.
I'm not sure we would, though, would we? We're above that. I agree with Joe. I agree with everyone that Mitchell's really unlucky. There's still obviously a chance he could get in. I think picking Shaw is an easy way of getting someone out, dropping one or two of them. My concern isn't necessarily that we're not going to get another one in the squad. It's whether or not Wharton and Eze get through without getting dropped. I can't believe for 1 minute that someone like Maddison would get in over Eze, or even Mainu, who's had a good season, to be fair, but lately has been bossed by Wharton and doesn't have the vision or the speed of pass in there that Wharton has either. And I think that's obviously one reason why he's actually gone with it. And, and it is a contradiction in terms, as Joel said, that he is picking players on form, and then the one player that he should be picking on form, he's not picking. But hey, I'd sooner that than having Henderson in there, Phillips in there, and the other ones that he's been picking that he should never have picked the last few times. So, listen, we've got to be grateful that we're being recognised now. That's the main thing.
I need to move on. I know Teresa and Paul, you both want to come in. I'm conscious of the time, so I'm going to move it along because I know Tim needs to do something on Fab. Forgive me, you two. I am going to move on from the England call-ups. We are massively proud of all four of you. Should be five, and I think we all agree. Tim.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, just before that, of the 200,000 Scots going to Germany, I think it's be the first time in history there'll be more small boats going back that way rather than coming the other way. But there we go for that. Fab. First of all, Beer Festival. Jen, one of the guys, she's done a lot of good work. We're going to have a stand at the Beer Festival. I'm going to be there for a few hours. So come along, say hello. So that'll be good to see you. The other thing is we've got our next meeting with the club next week. One of the things that we're bringing up on the agenda is ticketing. And we want to get some work going with the club on that. So what I'd really be pleased if people could, not small things like my ticket fell out, whatever, but some of the big issues that you guys have gone to the games, both home and away, that you think need to be raised with the club on ticketing, any ideas to make it better, any instances where things haven't worked, and you could email them to my Fab email address that hopefully Nigel, is going to flick up. Pretty urgent for that because it said the meeting's Tuesday or Wednesday next week. So if you could drop that to me, so I've got that I can take along with me, that'd be really good. Thanks.
Problem. And while we didn't talk about contact details, our Instagram account will be taking a little bit of a breather over the summer. Tom Clark Samuel, you have been an absolute superstar this year on our Instagram account. Thank you for all your work that you've done this season, mate. If you don't think you are appreciated, give your head a wobble because you seriously are. Our Instagram account, in case you haven't liked it or subscribed to it, red_and_blue_review. Please give it a like, share, or follow. Okay. Thank you for all your hard work, Tim. Tom, and Tom's going to be doing transfer, not speculation over the summer. We're going to be doing transfer facts and actual happenings over the summer. But apart from that, he's going to give it a little bit of a rest because I know he's already preparing for next season because that's how dedicated he is to it. So I am very, very thankful to you. Okay, right. We've got lots of stuff coming up during the summer. Dates for your diaries in case you're not aware of that I'm going to let you know about now. On Friday, the 14th of June, the summer transfer window opens. And guys, I'm sure you'll agree with me, it's going to be a busy one. I think, if I was a betting man, Alisi and Gehi will go, and I reckon we'll have 4, 5, even 6 in if I'm a betting man. But time will tell. Tuesday, the 18th of June, the new fixtures come out are announced. Obviously, until Sky TV get their sticky little mitts on it. Wednesday, the 31st of July, Crystal Palace play Wolverhampton Wanderers, 8 o'clock Eastern EDT. Eastern, any idea? EDT time? That's the local time. It's 1 o'clock in the morning, Thursday morning, UK time, at Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium in Maryland, USA. Saturday, the 3rd of August, Crystal Palace play West Ham United at 1900 hours EDT, midnight our time on the Sunday, Raymond James Stadium in Tampa. And on Saturday, the 3rd of August, a Palace 11 will face Larne FC in a testimonial fixture for former player Jeff Hughes at 3 o'clock. And that's obviously in Ireland. And Saturday and Sunday, the August the 17th and 18th, the new season kicks off and we'll be at it all over again. It's just, it never stops. But I think what we're going to do on the Red and Blue Review, ladies and gentlemen, who are either listening on the podcast or watching us live, is we're going to take a bit of a break, okay? Unless we're going to have some signings come in. We might pop on. We might do I don't know. We might pre-record something and play it out later in the evening. But as far as the reviews are concerned, obviously we're going to take it. These guys that are on your screen now all deserve a bit of a break. They put a lot of work into it. I know they do. And I'm delighted to announce to everybody watching and listening that everybody on your screen, apart from Joe Holyoke, of course, everybody that's on your screen right now and others in the background have all committed to the Red and Blue Review next season. So I thank you. And it's a show that's growing, including Jim Cannon, by the way. Ladies and gentlemen. Jim's obviously said he's going to be with us all next season. So if there's anything that you'd like us to do slightly different, just drop me a message. You can get hold of me. You can't get hold of me on Facebook. You can get hold of me on Twitter and WhatsApp. Just give me a shout. Anything you'd like us to do differently. I'm going to draw a line under it there. But before I do, I wanted to say a special thank you to the guys in the background, Lucy Usher, and especially Nigel Croucher, who without their input and whatever they do, okay, this show doesn't go out, okay? Nigel in particular, of recent months, has basically owned it. Tom doing Instagram, but Nigel and Lucy doing the production side of this. Obviously Jill does most of the production work, as everybody knows. And of course, to each and every one of you who contributed out in Facebook and YouTube land with your comments, we see every single one of them. Thank you for all your support of the review over the last year. And last but not least, to each and every one of you on screen, Jim, Ian Lyons, Joe Holyoke, Tim Richards, Paul Gear, Ian Noble, Fergus Tidd, and gorgeous Teresa. Thank you very much for everything you do, okay? This show is nothing without you, okay? And it is nothing without you. I'm going to sign off there. Any last thoughts from you boys and girls going forward? Oh, yeah, of course. There's the best stat of the week, of course. And I'm sure something... I have to say, Palace played a fantastic bit of shithousery right on final whistle that went on screen. Right on final whistle. And it was the fun. It made me laugh. Go around the room one by one. Paul, you first. How much are you looking forward to next season?
I can't wait. I mean, it's gutting the season's ended. It's just let's hope we keep Elise. Let's hope we keep Eze. I think Gay will go, but I think we can live with that. I think if we keep the rest of them, I think next season's going to be a really fun one.
Ian, Joe, I'm coming to you in a second. Ian Noble.
Oliver Glasner will be the Premier League manager of the season in 24-25. There you go.
You heard it here, folks. Sir Jim Cannon, and thank you again, mate. I'm ever so grateful.
No problem. I just wish we'd have got Glasner about 6 months ago. We might have been looking at Europe. Did you hear Gary Lineker on the Match of the Day the other night? He said he could finish on top of the league.
He's a nutter anyway, isn't he? Like a loon. Yeah. Tim Richards.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know what's going to happen in the summer, but what struck me is on TalkSport the other day, Adrian Dunham said there's an outside bet. If we keep our players, he can see Palace towards the top 4. And he was serious. So, why not?
There you go. Who knows? Fergus Tidd.
Yeah, I mean, I felt really emotional at that final whistle for 2 reasons. One, I'd never seen Palace play football like they've been playing. It's just, I was almost crying. I was like, oh my God. Second, we finished above Brighton. But our current form next season, if we carry that into next season, Aston Villa qualified with 68 points. We could obliterate that. If we keep our players and we play like we're playing, we could qualify for Europe. Really confident of that. But we've got to keep them.
You're on mute, Nick.
Great words for Teresa.
Absolutely agree with you guys. I think we will keep them. I think Ollie Glasner is so exciting with his strategy. I think the boys might actually want to stay. So I think we're going to have a great season next season. Of course I do. I'm the optimistic one.
Well done, you. Sorry, Ian Lyons, I'm going to give you the next word and then leave the final words to the big man.
Well, first, I think you left yourself out of order. Congratulations. Well done for hosting and bedding in those teeth from Turkey. Well done. Secondly, if we hadn't have conceded goals in the last 10 minutes so much, we would have had another 17 points or so. So Europe is definitely a possibility. And third, if we do actually go to Europe, are we all going to go?
Most definitely yes from me.
Right, there you go. There's a date with all of you, other than Tim.
Good stuff. Yeah. Right, and I'm going to give the final word to the big fella. Old croaky voice. Go for it, big man.
I'll just reiterate what everyone else has said. It's been from in 7 games, how much our season and our mood and everything has turned around. Like I said, I'm hoping we only lose 1 or 2, and it'll be, already looking forward really to next season. So well done, everyone on here as well. It's always sometimes it can be a bit of a pain when we're going through bad patches and we've got to come on and we've just got to, we've got to talk about a loss and a boring draw and how things are going wrong. But how the mood changes when things are going right. So is to hopefully a prosperous UK football team summer, Jim. And that we can keep our players, and I really do hope that Eze gets a chance to shine. The only thing is, I think if he does get to play and he does shine, I just think we will get an offer that we can't turn down for him, which will be a real shame. But yeah, out of Palace.
Thanks, mate. Okay, Mark Callaghan's just said Nick breaking his teeth in for Shergar. Yeah, thank you for that, mate. I've got to say to you, I'm immensely proud of all of you on screen. I'm immensely proud of my football club. In 50 years of supporting Crystal Palace, I have never felt the way I do. If there's any other words I could use to sign off to a positive summer, okay, and look forward to next season, I haven't got them because I'm not intelligent enough. On behalf of everybody connected to Red and Blue Review, ladies and gentlemen out in Facebook land and YouTube land, have a great summer. Stay safe, and we'll be back again, bigger, better, and brighter on the review next season. Good night, everybody. Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Good night, all.
Crystal Palace, the best young side in Europe, and that is about to be confirmed by Joe Whitworth lifting the Premier League International Cup. Selhurst Park sees silverware again. Crystal Palace come out on top.